There's no longer the respect given to the Igwes. People expect here to find security, plenty of food being brought by different people, cows, sheep, but not anymore. Nobody cares for you anymore. Instead, they come to see what they can get out of you. I was a champion boxer. I was a karateka, martial arts black belt. What is a difficult thing to pinpoint? Say this is the history of Igbo. It's like any other community in Igbo land, especially in this part of Igbo land. So we're central Igbo really. But so we talk of Igbo, the focal point is Anambra State. The others are peripheral. They surround Anambra State. But what we mean by tradition in Igbo land, the culture, the modus operandi, ways of life in many things uh, revolve around traditions in Anambra State. Um, Anambra has grown in communities of people who clustered together. How they came together is not quite clear. We're not sure exactly how each one came about. Each village or community has its own story, and sometimes the story is very a lot in the narration. But well, some say they came from Ngala land. Others say they came from, I think the Yoruba are the ones who claim they came from Egypt. Uh, the Onitsha, that's part of the Delta Igbo people, say they came from Benin. But we know that, or believe, let me say, we believe that nobody is sure of anything. That there was a traditional medicine man, a dibia called Ezechima, who went from the east and lived in from the east of Nigeria, the Niger, and lived in Benin for many years. And just like the story of Joseph in Egypt, he became famous, and the Oba of Benin handed virtually everything to his care, and he so, more or less became a prime minister, and he acquired a lot of the culture of the Benin people, their rituals and their garments, their chieftaincy titles, the methods of their operation, uh, until the Pharaoh who knew about Joseph came. So an Alba who didn't know Ezechima came, and there was a quarrel, and so the Igbo people had to run away. So they fled back to the east, where they originally came from. Some of them, of course, were born there, so they don't remember their home ancestors and settled elsewhere on their way back. But that's the story. Some of them then claim to have come from there, not knowing that they first went there. It's like the Egyptians the Israelis in Egypt, and only came back as a result of some problems they encountered. Anyway, so various stories come from various parts of Igbo land as to where they came from. Mm, uh, Many believe that Nri was the source of Igbo land, and because the people produced, well, for lack of a name, people said native doctors. They are really local priests who divined and saw the signs of the heavens and the Creator and told it to people, and sometimes added their own naturally, and acquired a lot of influence thereby, so that they cured the rituals and bad practices in town, and any place where there was a major wrongdoing, they were called to come and sanitize the land. And they often acquire the land uh, 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 through that means also. So they had a lot of influence uh, spiritually and sometimes materially. So they migrated also in various places and held titles and chieftaincies and divinations, spiritual organizations in various parts of land, Igbo land. And so many Igbo people claim to have ancestors in Nri land. Uh, uh, and there's hardly any apart from parts of the arrow. You know, there's hardly any Igbo community that doesn't have a trace to Nri. But there are four major Nri towns uh, that we know of. The Aguku, who's supposed to be the youngest child, although they claim to be the oldest. But then Aguku and the Enugu, Nofia, and the Enugu are the four men uh, sons of Umri. And others have Aguleri, Umweri, well, virtually every village in the world has an Umri family. And they are known for carving, for artwork, for face scarification, and other rituals, religious rituals that are performed in Igbo land. So there are many stories of where the Igbo came from and how they settled in their various places. Even today, migration is still going on. Oko, for example, in the last 30 years, has acquired many people who are not of Oko origin because of the growth of the town, the education establishments that situated in it, the marketing uh, positions, the transportation, the civilization that has grown around it. So people still migrate to the Boland. There's a lot of mixture. Uh, so I don't.
When you say they have acquired, do you mean they have become indigenous of Oko?
As it were,
Okay.
yes, as it were. Many have been born here and have lived here all their lives, and have now claimed villages of Oko as their own because that's where they were born. And many people from their area, the Soka area, and especially from Abakaliki area, uh, 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 Enugu State particularly, but Ebonyi State.
Do they enjoy privileges like other Oko?
Well, more or less, they, they're not barred from doing anything that's legitimate, although a lot of evil is also blamed on them for their, because you can't quote unquote trust them entirely. You don't know where they're going to be the next day. None of them have no fixed jobs. They're mostly Okada riders and such things, and they can vanish any day change addresses. So there's a strong rule in Anambra that you must get the address of origin of the whoever is living in your compound, including mine. So if there's any non-Oko person living in this compound, we'll identify him and know that yes, he or she is not an Oko person, and he probably comes from there or from there, yeah, or we don't know. So yes, there are intermarried here. Many of our children are children of these. At least of the women of these Ebonyi, of Igbo, of Abia, Imo, have come here. Anyway, I'm talking too long, so, because you may want me to pause
Yeah.
so you can go to other things.
Okay.
So, well, um, it's a somewhat checkered history, if I may call it so, because there has been a tradition of hierarchy in Oko. you have a fixed number of villages, and there's a fixed seniority in that village, and there's a fixed seniority in every family of the village. And Ezioko is first, Eziabo, Okra and Ihudu usually joined as one, but the one called one village, but Ihudu people say they always marginalized because although they are the origin, they always replaced behind the corner. Then Ihengu, which is smallest, who claim to be the origin of Oko, but that's who knows who is what, and defeated the last one, the last village. That is the order and the hierarchy of taking a choice in anything. If something is being shared in the town, Ezekiel must take first. Ezekiel, in that order. And if it comes to Ezekiel, then there are certain quarters, Umumodo, Etiti, and Hamakotan. They come to in that order. Come to Umumodo, Umuezoku must take first. That's we. Uh, so traditionally, Umuezoku have played the leading kingship role. I claim Igwe Ekwueme the fourth because my uncle, whom I succeeded, you can see his grave over there now, was Igwe Ekwueme the third. But there was a lull during the white man's rule, so there was a gap before Atapbera re-established the kingship, but tradition. So there is a hierarchy in that. Based on that,
You will come from Ezioko.
always, and
Was come
now
from your own kindred.
always, but now, things change. They're amending a constitution which prevents it from coming from Ezioko or from Ezokwe. That it was rotated, in fact, among the 5 villages in order. Well, we've resisted that, but then what can you really resist in these modern times?
So Ezioko people are not resisting it. The
Well,
amendment of the constitution.
even some Ezoko people are jealous of the Ezoko, and the Ezoko people are jealous of Ekwueme, and so even though when they will resist, I mean, also dark after let it go as well. But this is still Igbo. But for example, if you look at other Igbo towns, in Nimo, the new kids used to, they are no longer there. In Ogidi, there are movies. They are no longer the ones now. And others in Nuku, George Jackals. You can name what if you who have to. Well, things have changed.
Even in my town, there are railways in Okija.
Uh-huh.
No longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is how things. So I am not worried about who comes after me and what am I doing with it. Your question was how long I've been there and how much I had cooked. Even when my uncle died, I gave a gap before I assumed the office. And my elder brother, Dr Alex Ekwueme, would have been the one, but
I was coming to that. Why it had to be you?
Yeah.
Your elder brother was there.
Well, and that's why I took on the title which my grandfather took, which is Mwovwebwe. I don't know what you know what Mwovwebwe is. Mwovwebwe is a fern. It's a parasite that grows on palm trees. They find it in the middle of palm trees without any roots. So Ekwueme was not actually the first son but he was the most prominent. And his elder brother said, "Go, you take over and become the permanent chief." So in the same way, Alex was so busy with politics that when Justice, my predecessor uncle, pastor, wondered who was going to be next, and they looked at him to yes, and others were lobbying him to appoint them. but he someone said it was I, and the whole town seemed to have agreed, and that was about 24 years ago. Uh, so I think yes, 2003 when I took over the throne. Well, it's been not easy. You ask what the challenges have been. Challenges have been enormous because things have changed. There's no longer the respect given to the Igwes. People expect here to find security, plenty of food being brought by different people, cows, sheep, but not anymore. Nobody cares for you anymore. Instead, they come to see what they can get out of you, uh, not what they can give to you. So there's a lots of challenges, and because of modern times, people who shouldn't be speaking to you, uh, shouldn't be talking to you, think that you should not be talking to them. So we've had different challenges from different people, especially with regard to the polytechnic, which was established here by Alex as an academic institution that has drawn many people into the town, and it became a sort of money spinner for some people who misunderstood the idea of academics, and they came there to mine the gold instead of developing the town. So it's caused a lot of trouble.
I knew there was that issue.
Oh
I
yes.
think I covered a bit of it. Has that issue been resolved now? The agreement between the Polytechnic authorities and the people of Oko.
Well, it's been somewhat resolved, if I may say so. We thank God that there's been a restoration of peace. Um, Before it was even difficult to get a town union in agreement because Oko went asunder and couldn't live in peace for well over 15 years. But thank God peace is returning, and my last offer was over 20 years ago or so. But I plan to have one January
Your
10th.
last offer?
My last offer.
You have not been
No.
it? Oh.
Even the Iwaji, we have not had info, but we had one this year. So we are now restoration. We're now in a period of restoration. We're now restoring peace and community relationship and conviviality, harmonious living. So we're going to have an offer on the 10th of January. So I want to give it publicity. And get the Vanguard to sponsor it.
Well, there are big people in Lagos that will do that.
Well, you can.
So, considering your background as an academician, you're also a musicologist and a Nollywood actor. How have these things been influencing your person as a traditional ruler?
Yes. Part of the problem is that I have always been a person interested in too many things. So that in fact, it retarded some of my academic progress because if I had concentrated so much on one thing, I would have done much better than that. But I was distracted by doing so many so many things, including, well, we could talk of music, drama, religion, sports. I was a champion boxer. I was a karateka, martial arts black belt. Um,
So which
I
of
was
these?
interested in the arts
Which of
and
these?
sciences. So I did high school science as well as ending up in high school
Yes. If you did
arts.
science in higher school,
This is
why
it.
did you end up studying music?
Yeah, but because our music, I got a scholarship to study music. So these are all conflicting, apparently conflicting ideas, but not conflicting. They are all interrelated. Everything's interrelated. There's some one man, some one God, some one creator has everything in you. God is wonderful. And it's supposed on which branch of the tree you light, that one shines best. And if you leave it and go to the other one, that other one now blossoms and blooms a little more. So, yes, I was interested in the arts, the sciences, in music, drama, sports, religion. I was a licensed lady at the age of 20, which was the youngest the Anglican Church had him at my age in 1956, way back in Enugu. Um, uh, where do you mean? So I was a choir master of the whole of old Niger Diocese in 1956 and led the choir that competed at Onitsha, which included the old Benin Diocese, Owere Diocese, Enugu Diocese. Those were archdeaconries, but they all were a part of the city. And I took the choir from St. Bart's Enugu to and win that uh, competition at the age of 20 because I had the luck of being taught music at Umuahia by a white man who had studied music professionally.
Common College Umuahia.
Common College Umuahia, yes, where I went to school. And but I was even more standing in drama at Umuahia than in music. But I couldn't take exams in drama, whereas I could take exams in music until I got a scholarship to go and study music abroad. So that's why the apparent confusion and conflict of having too many interests and following them all and not abandoning and abandon some halfway, but following them most.
Became a professor of music.
That's right.
And
drama.
In drama. But when you appear in a set, in a film set, do those you act with realize that you are traditional?